Hey, what's going on there, TIs? Just wanted to give you a heads up of what happened. All right. So let me tell you what led up to all of this, having to go collect all my belongings and taking them off of my sold out parents' property. Let me tell you what happened. Here we go. So last week on Friday, I actually had to send a text message. Well, I didn't have to, but I decided to send a text message to my dad, my sold out dad. And I told him, hey, please take out my shotgun from your gun safe and go ahead and put it uh, into my truck. And so as I told him that, he responded with telling me, he says in the text message, you don't own a shotgun and there's not a shotgun in the safe. And then his next text message was, in fact, come get your truck and the rest of your belongings off of my property. And so here I am today with my truck stuffed to the gills. And here's the back, nice and loaded, my antlers, all that stuff. But anyways, I was waiting there on the shoulder, right, on the side of the road, waiting for the officer to show up for the civil standby. And at that point, my sold out dad called me. And so I answered the phone and we chatted. And here's what he said. He's like, hey, where you at? It's already 6:40. You said you'd be here by 6:30. And I told him that my help is running a little late. I'll be there as soon as I can. And he responded with, okay, well, me and, well, his wife, he said her name. I'm not going to say it. He said, we wanted to go into town to go get some dinner. So how long will it be before you're here? And then I said, well, I can be there by 7. I'm pretty sure my help will be there by 7. So he said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and wait here then until 7. And then I just decided to ask him out of the blue. I just said, hey, you know what? Let me ask you something. Would it be okay if I went upstairs to go get my TV, my hunting rifle, and my pellet gun? And he says, well, I thought you already had all that stuff. And I said, no, I never got those particular items. Those are like the last few items that are still up there. And he said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and take them out and we'll put them outside on the table and leave them in the backyard on top of the table. Okay, that's fine. And sure enough, when I got there, everything was on the table. And so now here I am, going back and forth from the spare room, taking stuff out and loading it onto my truck. And while I'm doing that, I catch a glimpse. Oh, let me back up. Hang on. So I called back the officer and I told the officer, hey, it looks like, or it sounds like my dad is willing to just, be a little bit more civil than I thought. My dad and my stepmom. So I'm going to cancel the civil standby. And so the officer said, okay, but if you need us, you call us immediately. And, I agreed. So anyways, back to what I said. I catch my dad and he's taking the gun back inside the house. So I call him on the phone and I'm like, hey, what's going on? I thought you were gonna let me take my gun. And he said, yeah, but it's actually technically mine. He's all, my dad gave it to me. He said, so it's really my gun. And I changed my mind. I just don't want to give it to you after all. And I just told him, well, you know what? That is sad. I was like, I can't believe you're gonna do something like that. I said, how can you be that way? I said, besides, I have a hunt coming up. And then he says, well, tough luck. He says, good. He's all, maybe you'll get something with a different gun. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I said, oh, that's fine. I know who to call. So I went ahead and hung up the phone. And then I got on the phone with the officer, and I started telling him what was going on, right? The situation. And then at that very moment, my dad, or my sold out dad, comes outside with the gun. Inside. Well, it's inside the case, inside the gun case. He brings it outside, puts it back on the table, and then goes back inside the house. And that's it. Didn't say a word. And I could hear my stepmother, or his wife, coaching him. I could hear her. So he was on his best behavior, which was quite interesting. They must have known that I had called an officer, or being that I suspect of them being perps, maybe they were already informed. I don't know. I just don't know. There's so many possibilities and variables when you're a TI, You don't know how certain situations are going to play out. And in this particular case, everything was in my favor. Some way, somehow. Thank you, God. Thank you for working with me. Just wanted to let you guys know that at least, the status of myself. I am fine. I made it home to where I live. And now I got a lot of unpacking to do. So I'm going to be real busy here for at least another 20 minutes or half an hour. Maybe I'll come on live later. I don't know. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, and y'all take care, and let's just continue to stay as strong as we can. Got a feeling this might get exposed here pretty soon, guys. Seriously. I know some of us keep saying that, but it's really, something's about to happen. Something's got to give. There's too many of us now. Well, again, thank you, and y'all take care. Peace out.